Welcome to episode 9 of the Benefits of series. In this fresh new episode, we will be covering a powerful source of sexual education, which can greatly enhance any relationship. Anybody who is immature will not be able to discuss such a topic in an educated manner. A calm, intelligent, educated manner. So this is a great topic to use with others to determine their level of maturity. If they're immature, their ignorance is going to shine, their fear. We're going to go over it. So, of course, the topic for this episode is pornography. Unfortunately, too many people try so hard to deny what they are as sexual human beings, and thus they live miserable lives as a consequence. And these are the ones who are going to be arguing about such a topic when such a topic is nothing to argue about, as I will prove with this stream. If you remember, our very first stream in this The Benefits of series, we discussed the benefits of masturbation. So this is a follow-up because pornography is important. It's a tool. Use it or lose it. Just because something exists doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because since the beginning of time, humans have carved on stone and in the ground sexual depictions trying to show people this and that. So this is nothing new. It's just that nowadays we have the invention of film, audio, all these beautiful inventions that can present a crisp and clear depiction of what we're discussing. It doesn't have to be a sexual topic, but this is how we learn as human beings. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. All right, this is another way of looking at it. It's quite simple. I don't understand why it's such a controversial topic. Only the naive would consider it as such. Watching pornography is the same as watching any do-it-yourself video. It's simply a large collection of videos for anyone to learn from. Literally demonstrations of all kinds of sexual activities. Where's the harm in that? You can watch videos on how to, carpenter videos that you're not a carpenter, but you're going to attempt it, aren't you? You're going to use that bandsaw. You're going to use that big ladder, and you don't barely have any experience climbing long ladders. It's dangerous, isn't it? Well, when it comes to pornography, there's no danger involved. Unless you're too young to understand it. Or towards the end of the stream, I'll provide a different example. But there are no disadvantages. It's just like any do-it-yourself video. They're showing you how it's done in many different ways. Just like math, sometimes there's more than one way to arrive to the same correct answer. And that's it. That's it. Close the book. End of story. But the ones who can't handle such a natural depiction of sexual intimacy, be careful with such people. Let's go ahead and get into it a little bit further. This is why I created my own 1-hour video course, which I call my movie. Because visuals will always be more powerful than text for learning purposes. Yes, I wrote my book and it's a really good seller, but my movie is the future. It's the 1-hour video course, which many are missing out on, but that's soon going to change later this year. So it's great for visual learning pornography because it's literally showing you, instead of seeing carved depictions on stones in tablets. I'm talking about the scrolls, Dead Sea Scroll stuff. We've come a long way as human beings. Now we can finally just simply show you such beautiful images for the mature, the way we're supposed to be, mature adults. And mature teenagers, because we're going to go over that as well. Those sexually active teenagers. 65% of individuals learn best through visual means. 90% of the information transmitted to the brain is visual. Visuals are processed 60,000 times faster than text alone. The use of visuals has been found to improve learning by up to 400%. This is why I created a 1-hour video course version of my book. It's a beautiful course, but I hesitate to call it course because people think that there's homework and quizzes. No. You sit back, relax, and watch a series of 10 small videos, which equates to 1 hour of solid wisdom for your learning experience. And this is precisely why I did it. So, let's go ahead and move on here. Even listening to all kinds of sounds found in pornography can be educational, from moaning, kissing, the friction of touching, and the collisions, both soft and fast. What are your favorite sounds? See, it's not just what sex looks like. It's also what it sounds like. Sexual arousal is auditory and visual. And of course, sensual. By touching, by feeling. So, listening skills. You can pause this if you want and read this if you want. There's active listening, passive listening, purpose of listening, why listening, techniques for effective listening. So if you're watching pornography, focus your attention, listen to understand and not refute. You shouldn't be nervous or anxious. Be calm, nice and calm. Fight distractions. Take it seriously, right? Don't interrupt. Maintain eye contact with what you're watching. This is the way we learn in class. It's the same. This is no different. So pornography can be a great tool to learn from. That's it. That's its only purpose. Other than for single people, which we'll go over later. If they don't have someone to love, then yeah, that's perfectly fine. All right, so you can pause and read the rest of that if you like, but for the purpose of this stream, let's go ahead and move on. All right. You'll then know precisely what you want to incorporate into your sexual experiences with your future partner or your current partner, whether you're single or involved in a relationship. It's crucial that you know exactly what you sexually desire. I can't stress this enough. So if you're with a partner, all you have to do is say, hey, I actually like this one video here. Can you do that with me? Can you do that to me? Or can you let me do this to you? Sexual consent, right? But again, you have to be mature, respectable, and respectful. That's all that's required. I don't see what the big problem is with pornography. It's just like a do-it-yourself. It's like a do-it-yourself project, right? You go with your partner and say, okay, I think we should remodel the floor, remodel the ceiling or the kitchen. Hey, let's just do it one piece at a time. So you watch a few do-it-yourself videos. You look up some websites with text, whether it's visual or reading, video presented or reading. It doesn't matter. You're educating yourself before beginning the project. So the same thing with pornography, how to enhance your sexual intimacy with your partner. And if you're single, this will prepare you for when you finally do find a partner. You'll know precisely what you're looking for, because if she or he says, no, I'm not willing to do any of that, are you prepared to live the rest of your life and beyond with such a person who is limited sexually, who is not a good fit for you in terms of sexual compatibility? No. Why are you going to place yourself through such torture when you know that they're not the one for you? Sex is a huge part of the relationship. I've said it before. Pretty much 75% of the equation. The other 25% is anything rated G and otherwise. Because sexual intimacy, just go watch my ranking series. In my last ranking episode where I go over intimate sexual activities or intimate activities, there you go. So everything from rated G to rated X, it's all about being a mature partner, a mature human being. So, I mean, like I said, it's crucial that you know exactly what you sexually desire and that your partner's ready to fulfill those desires for you. They must be ready to become your fantasy through mastering the art of sexuality and sexual activities. Otherwise, you're going to be one miserable person. Where do you think cheating comes from? Now, there's always going to be people who cheat just to cheat. But I'm saying that one of the huge factors in cheating is because they're not being sexually satisfied. And they're too scared to talk to their partner about it. You can't be scared to talk to your partner about what you desire sexually. That's just beyond sad. That's beyond immature. Now, acting versus film. For pornographic actors, it's acting. For them, it's acting. Okay? Let's make this distinction very clear. But for the viewer, it's an edited film. A highly edited film, right? Who cares if the film is edited? Regardless of what you call it, anyone can learn from such a performance. That's why it's an educational tool. I don't care if it's fake. Pornography is a bunch of fake acting. No, those are real actors doing their jobs. And most of the time, most of them, if not almost all of them, are getting treated appropriately with respect, and they're getting paid very well. There's always going to be a few who do the wrong thing. But it's being regulated more and more with each passing year because people are finding out that the old pimp days are over. That it doesn't work anymore. You can't force people to do things. It's highly illegal and it's highly regulated. But there's always going to be rule breakers. But regardless, the majority, the legally accessed films, you have actors and actresses. Nowadays, they just call them actors for some reason. So, yes, this is theater for them, but films for the rest. It doesn't matter if, that's fake. Of course it's not real love on screen. Unless it's a real couple sharing their sexual experiences. They do have pornographic films like that. Real partners in a real relationship openly sharing their sexual experiences for the purpose of education. So, who am I to say that they're wrong for doing so? It's just like OnlyFans. You don't have to like it, but it exists. It's a choice. What you do with your body is your freedom. Who am I to tell you that you're not allowed to do so? You're not hurting anybody else, right? So what's the problem? Lots of jealousy and envy in that department. People getting upset with the OnlyFans thing. It doesn't matter, OnlyFans. It used to be just the exhibition of one's own sexual abilities or whatnot. It's always been demonstrated, whether visual or not. Anyone who condemns the harmless existence and positive use of pornography is an ignorant hypocrite. Because human beings, as I've said many times before, are literally products of sex. You know where babies come from? Exactly. Such people live in fear and misery. Those who condemn something as harmless as pornography. So if you go to driving school and you learn how to drive, does that mean that you're going to go run people over with your car? No. The majority, if not almost everybody, is going to use their car to get from point A to point B. So why are you going to act like everybody wants to run somebody over with their car? Obviously not, right? So pornography is no different. 99% or more are just watching for sexual satisfaction, sexual arousal. That's it. End of story. So what's so bad about it? Got it? A kitchen knife. Oh, you can use that to kill someone. Yeah, but you can also use it for what the majority of people, way over 99% of people actually use it for, to actually do cooking activities. It's just all about maturity, I swear. When it comes to any topic. Pornography is merely an exhibition of what serious, loving couples can experiment with and learn from. They will learn about themselves and each other, enjoying the limitless power of deep, intimate love. Love is love. Pornography is pornography. Obviously, the majority of the time, if not all the time, almost, unless, like I said, couples sharing their love for whatever reason, maybe they want to make a buck or two. Who am I to tell them that that's wrong, right? The obvious is that love is love, and pornographic films are pornographic films. Right? So if we watch an action movie and it's full of a bunch of stormtroopers getting blasted away to their own deaths, right? Their own demise. Does that mean that we want to be the hero and go blast some people with a real firearm? No, it doesn't. We're watching it for entertainment, aren't we? In fact, actually watching a movie where just a bunch of killing going on, that's actually less productive than actually watching a pornographic film. I mean, one is meaningless entertainment, but the other, because, there's the same old stories over and over. Pornography is no different in that regard, but at least pornography are, depictions of what you can do in your actual love life, whereas watching an action movie, what are you going to do? You can't emulate such things because they involve violence, right? That's my point. Oh, so much logic. Mind blown. If your religion condemns human sexuality, which includes viewing pornography or engaging in oral or anal sex, such a thing is called sodomy for some ridiculous reason, that's called religious extremism. Nothing but ignorant control over ignorant slaves. If the shoe fits. So it is my belief that all religion is a foolish answer to the foolish question. There's no proof of anything. So you're free to believe whatever you want. But you have to respect my belief as well. So here's what I believe. I believe that the mysteries of life cannot be answered. So all I ask is that for your religion not to cause a problem when it comes to human sexuality by prohibiting people to actively pursue what it is that they find sexually interested in. See, because if you prevent someone from finding out their own sexuality, discovering what they really love and what they want to have in their life, then you're becoming a dictator. And you're limiting their own form of happiness in a future relationship, or if they're already in a relationship. You can't prohibit sexuality when it comes to people making up their own minds. So back off. Stop telling people that they're not allowed to view this and that, because that's called a dictatorship, right? Control and manipulation. Nobody wants that. But it's not just religion, whether it's religious extremism or supposed moral brainwashing by one's own parents, family, and friends. Anyone claiming that pornography is bad simply has no idea what happiness or freedom are. That's the truth. This is all our own family, friends, colleagues. I mean, especially friends and colleagues, because there's lots of gossip out there and lots of shared beliefs, and that's where the chaos really comes in, because that type of negativity can seep into one's family, whether it's your own or the family you came from originally. So ignorance spreads like a wildfire, unfortunately. Don't let anybody manipulate what you're curious in. If you're curious about sexuality, pornography is a great tool to find out everything that you might like in your life. It's a great tool. Is it the only tool? No, but it's a fantastic shortcut. All right. So, some of the benefits of pornography are: it can increase sexual arousal, excitement, pleasure, and orgasm. It can improve relationships by providing new ideas, fantasies, and rekindling sex life. Absolutely. This is a tool. It can enhance body acceptance and self-acceptance, especially for sexual minority individuals. It can provide sexual knowledge and education and expose people to diverse sexual material. It can reduce stress, boredom, loneliness, and provide safer sex behavior. Absolutely. Absolutely. All of these. And much more. But it's mainly about self-discovery. And if you're fortunate enough to have a partner to love with all of your heart and soul, mutual self-discovery, sexual discovery. If you don't know yourself, if you don't know your partner, then you're not going anywhere. You'll never become soulmates with someone. So this is a must. I'm not saying that you can't live without pornography. I'm saying that if it's a tool, use it or lose it, right? We can also live without cars. We can live without homes, brick and mortar. But it's there, right? So we're going to use the cars. We're going to build homes. If it's there, use it. Use it or lose it. Why not? Why so much hesitation? Why so much apprehension? Makes absolutely no sense. All right. Sex education. In fact, pornography would be a great tool to teach sexual education in high school or college. Pornographic films could be shown as visual lessons, showing abstinence, the proper way to do it, safe sex, the proper way to do it, making love in a gentle way, a non-aggressive way, non-violent way. Absolutely. See, this is where the problem comes in. Ignorance, right? If they don't know how are they going to find out how in the future? Nobody's teaching them how and what's out there. Then they find out the hard way, and they're like, wait a minute, I don't like this. Or they get married because they know nothing about sex. And then they discover that their partner is nothing that they imagine when it comes to jumping in bed together. Now you're stuck with misery and suffering for the rest of your life, with children probably. Nobody really thinks about this. Your happiness is important, and it includes your sexual happiness. Why not? Why exclude such a thing? Oh, because you're too scared of the topic? That's stupid. That's foolish. That's immature. That's non-human behavior. If you're too scared to discuss this with your teenagers who are, they're sexually active. And if they're not, then they must be masturbating because the hormones are kicking. Teenagers' hormones are kicking like crazy. And then they become young adults, and guess what? When fools rush in, if you don't teach them, if you don't show them, and once again, pornography is a great tool. You should be selective by what you show them, which we'll go over later. But if you don't teach the future generations about everything about sex, then they're going to fail in more ways that you can imagine and end up miserable. So, or hurting others because they're unhappy. But we can teach, while it's still not too late, how to properly love a partner sexually. The amount of sexual assault cases would drastically plummet thanks to properly educating sexually active teenagers and young adults, teaching them how to sexually respect and love their partners. You can't rely on Disney movies. The Lion King. The animators purposely put sex in the clouds when Simba took a fall there on the cliff. Because, well, what's so shameful about that? You're not learning anything sexual from Disney movies. And if you think that's enough, that's why we have the great amount of immaturity we have today with adults. They're thinking, hey, my love life is not like the Disney prince and princess films that I used to watch as a kid. What's wrong here? Are you serious? Because you never had a chance to watch at least some pornography or rated R films, because they actually show you what real lovemaking looks like. It may not be real love, but it's real sex being shown. It might not be real on the film, but what they're showing is sexual in nature. You can learn something from rated R movies, minus all the rest of the violent nonsense. The sex scenes. So why not just skip all the violence and go straight to pornography? Selective pornography, by the way, which we'll go over. I already said that. But in order to stop sexual assault, you have to start with stopping the ignorance and the taboo of sexuality. Human sexuality. You have to stop with this nonsense about, that's inappropriate. I can't teach my kids that. Well, then guess what? You know what you're going to have in your hands in the future? A possible person committing, you know what, that big word that starts with an R? That short word? Right, because you didn't sexually educate them when you could. So, use it or lose it. Ignorance, the root and stem of every evil. Preach it, Plato. I wonder what Plato would think about pornography. Hopefully he wasn't a religious guy. Who knows? The main reason sexual assault even exists is because of mass ignorance and lack of proper sexual education. Evil people commit evil crimes because they're lost, desperate, and highly disrespectful. You have to respect human sexuality before even considering having sex with someone else. If you believe in fast sex and not slow sex, you already have mental and emotional issues. It's okay to have fast sex, but if you're not into the slow sex, taking things nice and slow with your partner, focusing more on sensuality and the intimacy aspect, the emotional aspect, you're going to have problems. That's when you're going to have problems. So, it starts with a young mind, a young adult mind, and a later teenager mind, if you will. Technically, from age 14 and beyond, even 13, when things start getting sexual, the sexual discovery. But just to be safe, mainly 18 and above, yes, I do agree that that should be the stage of a young adult. However, ready to have a sexual relationship, that depends on a case-by-case basis. Strictly case-by-case. Not everybody's the same, just because you're 18. There's lots of immature 18-year-olds out there, and 21-year-olds, and yada. Even elders are still immature. They never learn anything about anything. Alright. There's always going to be bad pornographic videos where obvious violent or abusive behavior is shown. The point is to only promote decent videos or highly passionate videos for acceptable categories. It's just like anything, right? There's a right way of doing things and there's a wrong way of doing things. This could be subjective, of course. But obviously, let's look at the obvious, right? A lot of people have a problem with hunting. Oh, you're going out to kill animals. But there's a lot of people that support it. But overall, does that look right? Shooting and killing animals? Probably not to most people. The hypocrisy comes over when they go over to a restaurant and order some chicken nuggets. They didn't kill the animal, but there they are eating birds. So to each their own. But what I'm saying when it comes to pornography, whether you think there's good videos, bad videos, it is subjective. But for the purpose of education, it should be a nice controlled environment, which we're going to go over right here, by the way. What constitutes as a good or bad? This. A monogamous relationship being depicted, or a monogamous session. A fantastic example of acceptable pornographic videos are only videos where it's one-on-one. No threesomes, no orgies, because that would be promoting meaningless sexual activity full of objectification. Think about it. There's nothing sexy about, probably for purposes of imagination only, when one is actually sexually immature, in the immature stages. Double penetration, I get it. In different positions with 3 or more or 2 or more, I get it. But once one reaches sexual maturity, it's no longer about objectification. And now you realize the importance of something called love, not just a sexual experience. So, this is very important to understand. Very important. And I actually made a video about that in my video section. Pornographic content that promotes more than one partner only promotes meaningless, life-wasting, unnatural, polyamorous relationships. Sexually active people need to learn and understand true love. That's my point. Now, I could teach you what it's supposed to be, but it's up to you to walk that journey and discover it on your own and your own unique experience. It might be similar to others, but it's always going to be unique, catered toward that which you are seeking in a partner, in a relationship, compared to somebody else. For example, I might want my partner to be the best oral sex performer ever. You might not care about that. So, you might not care about that. It matters a whole lot for me. Or I might want my partner to swallow. Maybe it doesn't mean anything for you. Maybe all you want is just missionary. You don't feel comfortable doing it from behind. Whatever it is, to each their own. As long as you respect your partner and they respect you, and you guys are both being sexually satisfied and honest with each other, nothing's missing. So, once again, sexual compatibility, it's everything. Don't learn the hard way. So once again, pornography should strictly be used as either a teaching tool or for the pleasure and self-sexual exploration of a single person living a single life during their own masturbatory sessions. It's perfectly fine and natural to want to use pornography because you don't have anybody by your side. There's nothing wrong with it. And unfortunately, there's actually life coaches out there condemning pornography and masturbation. Okay, we're going to go over that. Pornography, whether you're in a relationship or not, is all about satisfying yourself with the natural pleasure of careful, responsible masturbation or to enhance one's level of natural sexual arousal. There's nothing to be ashamed of here. So, anybody who tells you otherwise is lying to you because maybe they had a problem with human sexuality and they want to find others who have the same apprehension and fear as they do. That's right. All these anti-FAP, FAP means to masturbate because of the sound it supposedly makes. So, all these anti-FAP movement, anti-masturbation, anti-pornography movements, they're all living in fear. And they're out of control. I know this because I've collaborated with them. I've actually spoke with these people. I've written messages back and forth. I got to know what kind of... These two communities, anti-masturbation, many times they combine as one. Anti-masturbation, anti-pornography. It's called the PMO. Right? Pornography, masturbation, orgasm. Anti. Oh, such a sad story. You were literally created out of orgasm. Maybe not two, but one for sure. And you're going to deny that in your active life. How immature can you be? You see, our ancestors celebrated human sexuality with a bunch of depictions. Lots of sculptures out there. Yet, modern ignorant people are going to come up and say that that's not natural. That we should be against it. Sounds like a depopulation movement to me. Sounds a lot like a depopulation movement. Not a PMO movement. There's absolutely nothing wrong with sexual human arousal. The viewing of pornography is nothing to be ashamed of, so long as it does not become an abnormal addiction or substitute for finding and maintaining a real, healthy, meaningful relationship. You see, that's where the issue can arise. Addictions. So, that's what they should be preaching against. Only the addiction part, not the activity itself. Because that's extremism right there. Right? So, if you're anti-alcohol, okay, I don't want to drink alcohol ever in my life. You might run into the occasional glass of champagne during New Year's. Or you could be strict and say non-alcoholic drinks even and all the way. It's up to you, but you should have the freedom to, okay, maybe a little bit. You're not harming anybody, and you're being controlling over your own potential addiction. But to those who don't have that self-control, then you need to be more extreme because they are not mature enough. They're not strong enough to handle such a thing in moderation. Even food addiction. If you know that you're going to go overboard, don't do it. But don't deprive yourself either. If it's your birthday or celebration or an anniversary, don't be afraid to just have a little bit of that pleasure. You have to learn how to overcome these potential addictions. That's your responsibility. You shouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to ban it for the rest of the world. This is bad. This is evil. Just because it didn't work out for you doesn't mean that other people won't have their own sense of control over it themselves. To each their own. Live and let live. That's what I say. So this is what I do support when it comes down to our first episode in this series, The Benefits of Masturbation, and this episode as well when it comes to pornography. You should not become addicted to these things because excessive masturbation is dangerous. 1 orgasm a day, maximum 2. That's it. I don't care if it's by yourself or with a partner. And when I say 2 max, I mean it. Because it's too much for the body to recuperate from. Now, for a woman, pretty much the same thing. Pretty much, even though there's no erection phase, obviously. But it's good advice to listen to. Because for a woman, there is no erection going on in, recovery period. But don't overstimulate is what I'm saying. Maybe they can have 3 a day. But you'll find out that that's even too much as well. Quality over quantity. Responsible. In control. Whether it's substance addiction or addiction to excessive masturbation or too many hours of pornographic consumption in one viewing, always be in control over your sexual power. Above all, find your own perfect soulmate. That's my ending message as far as this topic is concerned. Have a good one, everybody. Another show coming soon. And remember, love is everything. That's the most important thing to remember. So have a good one.